Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user FarHumor1774. My wife, 30 female, admitted to a drunken one-night stand last weekend and it has turned me, 32 male, into a robot. I, 32 male, have been married to my wife, Kate, 30 female, for 4 years, together for 9. Our relationship has been amazing, loving and supportive. We have good communication, hardly ever argue, and our bedroom life has gone from strength to strength over the years. We discussed cheating in the past, and I was always clear that we would be over if it ever happened. Kate went home to visit her family last weekend, which was fairly normal. But before she left on the Friday night, we had a minor argument about keeping the house tidy. Due to this argument, our communication was limited on Saturday, but I knew she was going out to meet some friends at a bar. I trusted her 100%, so didn't think anything of it. Before I fell asleep, I texted her saying that I hope she had a nice night. When I woke up on Sunday morning, I had a missed call from Kate at 4 a.m., so I immediately called her to check if she was okay, but got no answer. After a few hours, I'd tried again a few times, but still no answer. Around an hour later, I got a message saying she was fine and was driving back soon. Kate got home late afternoon and looked awful. She had clearly been crying, was not wearing any makeup, unusual for her, and looked like a shell of a person. I knew right away something was wrong, but she wouldn't let me hug her and would barely speak. I sat her down on the couch and made her some tea. I gently encouraged her to tell me what was wrong, and she burst into uncontrollable tears for at least 10 minutes while I was trying to comfort her. She then proceeded to tell me, stopping every few words, that she had slept with someone last night after the bar. At that moment, something in my brain broke. I can't describe it any other way. I immediately got up and jumped in my car and drove off. I went to a park and walked around it for about an hour. Kate was calling my phone constantly, and I turned it off. When I got home, I grabbed 2 suitcases from the garage and went to our bedroom. I threw some of Kate's clothes and shoes into them and left them by the front door. Kate was lying on the floor in the living room, curled up into a ball, sobbing. I called her best friend who lives nearby and told her that Kate needed a place to stay and a ride to her place, and that Kate could explain everything to her later. I told Kate I was leaving for an hour and that her friend was coming to pick her up. She grabbed onto my legs trying to stop me from leaving. When I returned home again, Kate was gone and so were the suitcases. On Monday, with a clearer head, I answered one of Kate's many calls and told her that I needed her to send me an email with as much details as possible of that night, and if she leaves anything out, there will be no hope of reconciliation. I received this email on Monday night, but still haven't opened it. Since then, everyone has been trying to contact me, but I have just been working, exercising, and sleeping. One of her friends turned up at my house with an attitude, demanding an explanation. I told her to speak to Kate and closed the door in her face. I have also been speaking to divorce lawyers, have moved money into separate accounts, and blocked Kate and all of her friends on everything. Everything I have done since I found out seems like I have been on autopilot. I don't feel angry, upset, or overly emotional, just numb. Kate posted a note through the door yesterday asking me to meet tomorrow, but I'm conflicted. Should I meet her? Will it change anything? Is there any point in trying to reconcile? Is it normal to feel like a robot, and how do I snap out of this? Well, OP, this is of course a horrible experience. Now, I'm not a professional, but I would guess that you feeling numb is because this news has just hit you so hard that you're not able to process it yet. Now, regarding your current situation with your cheating wife, I wouldn't meet with her, at least not until I have a plan on what's going to happen moving forward. I mean, she's a cheater, so I wouldn't put it past her to lie to me or try to manipulate me into staying around. Now, the good thing is that you're already talking to lawyers to know what your options are and you've secured your finances. So the only answer that you need to find right now is, what do you want to happen moving forward? Do you want to try reconciliation or do you want to get out of this? And I think that's a decision you need to make without your wife's input. And what do you guys think about OP's situation? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Cert says, hey, I'm really sorry. I will speak from experience. Being numb after finding out was one of the main feelings that you will have. And it's totally okay to take a pause for as long as you need before you make a single decision. Need months? Take months. You don't owe anybody anything at this moment. And good job setting up boundaries. Regarding whether to read that email or not, think about it before doing so. Generally, there are two types of people. The ones that want to know as less information as possible and the ones that want to know every single detail there is. How it felt, how and what they have done. I personally did want to know every detail. I would say it helped me. Definitely caused me to imagine how it happened many times. Sometimes I wonder if I would be better off not knowing. Now, she does seem remorseful, she did admit it herself and as soon as she could in person, but this will ruin things big time. Magic will be forever gone. Even though 100% trust will never be back, 90 to 95% is possible. But there will always be that doubt in your head every time she will leave the house. You can definitely live with it. You can become stronger as a couple even in some areas. That's all possible and will tremendously depend on her and the work she is ready to do. But unfortunately for you, you will have to do a lot of work too. It will seem unfair, but that's a reality. We all said that we will never forgive infidelity, but I tried staying. I stayed for 1.5 years. Did the work, read the books, watched the videos, did a lot of talking, etc. I personally couldn't get over it. My psychotherapist said that everybody takes it differently. Some can live with it, some cannot. I took it as 10 out of 10. It made me a shell of a person for those 1.5 years. It affected my next relationship. If you can take it, if you can do the work, if you know she will give you the compassion and understanding that she is ready to do anything to help you, it might be possible. But keep in mind that a post-infidelity relationship is very different and they have very different rules. If you will decide to go to a psychotherapist, get the one that specializes on infidelity. Whatever will be required to reconcile could be considered controlling and unhealthy by regular psychotherapists. I hope you the best, my friend. Start46 says, honestly, I would do exactly the same thing as you. Cheating is a huge deal breaker for me. There would not be fixing it for me. So unless you think there may be any chance to work it out, I'd say you're doing everything right. If you're unsure, keep everything as is, and if you've talked to a lawyer already, hold off on filing for divorce and maybe talk to a therapist first to sort your feelings. She knew how you felt about cheating and there's no excuse she can give to justify it. If she loved you and respected you, she wouldn't have done it, period. I'm sorry you're going through this. And Deej363 says, first off, take a second to breathe. Whether you want to divorce her or not can wait. You're going forward at 100 miles per hour without giving yourself any time to even process what happened. You need to stop moving. You need to legitimately process what happened. And to do that, you need information. Additional information from OP's comments. She wasn't drugged, at least not according to her. This was one of the few things I clarified when I came back to the home the first time. She was drunk but knew what she was doing. She confirmed it was consensual. I obviously asked her why, and she just kept wailing and crying. Alright, well I think the community gave OP some pretty solid advice, particularly that first commenter, very thorough, and OP let us know that sex was consensual between the wife and the other guy. That just solidifies divorce for me even harder. Anyways, let's move on to the update to see how the story ends. After reading your comments, I decided to meet with Kate, but not read the email. Kate came to the house yesterday and when I opened the door, she looked terrible. She tried to hug me and started mumbling apologies, but I stopped her and we sat down to talk. I started by telling Kate that I would be recording the audio of the conversation and she agreed. I then asked her to explain what happened and told her that I haven't read the email she sent. Kate said she had been at the bar with 2 friends. I know and like both of them, and told me what she had to drink. I was surprised at how little she drank, because it was the same amount we would normally drink when going for dinner. A few glasses of wine and a cocktail. She admitted she was only slightly tipsy. One of her friends, Sarah, has a younger brother, Max, 27 male, who came to pick them up around midnight. It's a running joke in their group that Max has had a major crush on Kate since high school, and I had heard them joke about this. The four of them went to get some food and Max then dropped each one off until it was just him and Kate. Kate said she didn't want him to drive the 20 minutes to her parents' place after working all day, so would just order an Uber from his apartment. She went into his apartment to order the Uber but couldn't get one. Max suggested she could crash in his bed and he would take the sofa. He would then drop her off in the morning. Kate refused and continued to try to find an Uber. They were sitting on Max's bed and he kissed her. She kissed him back and they ended up having sex. She confirmed again that it was consensual. After that, she broke down crying from guilt and Max took her home. She cried for another hour, then tried to call me to tell me what she had done. We had to stop a number of times because Kate kept breaking down and crying hysterically. She told me it was a huge mistake. She got caught up in the moment. It was terrible. She only loves me, blah blah blah. After she was done, I told her that her story didn't make sense, but it didn't matter at this stage because I was done. This caused another breakdown. I told her I was going to continue with the divorce preparations, but for the next month we would be separated with no contact. I also told her that we would both remain faithful, would get a full STD panel, and she would tell our mutual friends and family what happened. I've had mutual friends and my wife's family send me nasty messages, turn up at my house, etc. because according to Kate, I kicked her out over an argument. My request was that Kate tells them it's because she has been unfaithful, not a full rundown of everything that happened. If she sticks to these conditions, I would be willing to meet again to see if there was any way forward other than divorce. She enthusiastically agreed to this, but made it clear that she did not expect me to stay faithful to her. I know many of you will criticize this decision, but I need to be sure that divorce is the right option after I have had time to process everything that has happened. I am still 99% sure that is where we are headed, but I need to be 100% certain. Well, OP, it doesn't matter if we agree or not, it is still your decision, and I think you're headed on the right way. Maybe this whole month of being separated and staying faithful because whatever. Sure, you need that. I wouldn't. I would just file, but fine. And I absolutely agreed with you. Her story doesn't make any sense. So, she didn't want him to drive 20 minutes because he was tired from work. But after having sex, she was totally cool with him driving her home. Wouldn't he have been more tired? Also, if she didn't want Max to drive because he was so tired again, why didn't she stay at a friend's house and gone the next morning to her parents' house? Why did she only start calling an Uber at the end of the whole thing? Why didn't she call an Uber from the bar? But I guess at this point, it doesn't really matter because you're done. So on that note, here's wishing you the best in the upcoming divorce, OP. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. Take care and thank you for sharing. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user ScrubDaddy6754. Am I the a-hole for wanting more space from my parents? I, 27 male, have a really good relationship with my mom, female 54, and my dad, male 55. I am so thankful for them and I would not be where I am if it wasn't for them. While all of this is good and heartfelt, I still feel like my parents are trying to control my decisions. It's been like this all of my life, from wanting to know where I am constantly to who I'm hanging out with. Even the girls that I've dated, they always nitpick at everything. They've raised me right and know that I'll think carefully, but they still choose to slightly criticize. It's really taken a toll on my self-esteem and self-confidence. When I was still living under their roof, I would talk to my parents about the possibility of buying or renting a place of my own. I wanted some experience with living by myself and some privacy. Every time I would bring it up, they would always be hesitant about it. I was financially stable and I could handle living on my own, still am. Me not being at home was a difficult challenge for my parents when I went off to college, especially for my dad, even though my college was 25 minutes away from home. Last year, I moved away for work, which was the first time I've been away from home. My mom was a little understanding, but my dad did not like it at first. He did not like the fact that I was so far away from home. Where I live currently is about 2 hours away from my parents. Since then, a lot has developed. I love my job. I have made a good supportive group of friends that have the same beliefs as me and that I trust. I've regained some of my self-esteem and I'm more confident. Also, I am in a committed relationship with the girl of my dreams, almost a year. Recently, I had a call with my folks with the usual, how have things been and all of that. My dad asked me when I planned on moving back home. I didn't really know what to say, so I just said, I'm not sure, Dad. After we hung up, I just had to think for a second. I might be overreacting, but I love the place that I am at right now, and I don't see anything changing for a while. I don't want my relationship with my parents getting ruined, but at the same time, they should respect my decisions and my feelings without trying to micromanage my life. The baby bird leaves the nest, it doesn't come back to it. Am I the a-hole for wanting more space? No, Opie, of course you're not the a-hole. This is just the natural way of things. Just like you said it, the baby bird leaves the nest, but it's not the baby bird, it's the bird. You are an adult. If I was in your shoes, I'd be ready to have a difficult conversation with your parents. I would sit down and explain what I want for my life, what my boundaries are, and the way I want to have the relationship with them going forward. And they have a choice. They accept it and respect your boundaries and respect you as an adult, or they don't, and then you just stop visiting for a while or you start screening phone calls until they understand that you are an independent adult and you have the right to make decisions for your life that they might not like, but they will have to accept. Your parents are holding on too tight, and the tighter they hold, the more you are going to want to break free. So again, OP, no, of course I don't think you're the a-hole. You should be able to live your life on your own term. And what do you guys think? What is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comment. Monkey Paw Wishes says, not the a-hole. Your parents are really unhealthy controlling, but you're only just realizing it. The more time you spend away from them, the more you're going to realize your relationship isn't as good as you think it is. Pete Friend 86 says, not the a-hole. It sounds like they're having issues cutting the umbilical cord. OP is doing right and honoring his parents by becoming an independent adult. And OP responds, I totally agree. The thing is, my parents are afraid of losing that bond that we've had for so long. They need to know that they're not losing anything. They just need to know that it's not okay to still be bossing around their 27-year-old son. And Musing Joke says, okay, OP, read carefully here. You're an adult. You're entitled to a life of your own. If you are happy where you are, just be there. You are doing absolutely nothing wrong. Also, let's be clear. Your parents seem to be little too much dependent on you. You might want to seek some counseling from a professional that might help you make the relationship more healthy. Since I understand you love your parents dearly, I guess you don't want to hurt them unnecessarily. Hence, I think a careful approach is needed, and that's why I'm suggesting consulting some therapist who specializes in familial relationships. For them to be so shaken by you living only 2 hours away at age 27 is kind of overbearing. Also, make sure to protect and shield your girlfriend as much as possible. They might project you being unwilling to move back to them onto her being the disruptive element. It's simply you being a proper adult instead. Smiley face. Okay, well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and that he just needs to have a more healthy relationship with his parents as an adult. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Hello people of Reddit. If any of you are interested, a year ago I posted on Reddit asking for advice about my parents, male 55 and female 54, wanting me, male 27, to move back to our hometown. Well, a lot has happened in the past year. I wanted to say thank you to anyone that commented on my last post. All of the advice was welcomed and greatly appreciated. Around Thanksgiving of last year was when I sat both my parents down to discuss my future plans. I told them that it was my life to live, and if I didn't want to move back, then I didn't have to move back. Nothing was changing. They weren't going to lose me as their son, as I still care for them, love and adore them. This was sort of a reality check for both of my parents. They apologized for being so controlling of that aspect of my life. My mom even started to cry. They told me that it was difficult to see me move out after being so involved with their lives over the past 26 years. At the end of this discussion, we hugged it out and nothing negative has come out of this, which was what I was afraid of in the first place. I still love my job, I still love my friends, and I'm still with my girlfriend, 2 years in August, whom I am happily going to pop the question to this fall. Cheers, everyone! Well, OP, in my opinion, this is a fantastic, feel-good, happy update. You spoke to your parents from the heart, you told them how things were going to be, you didn't need any third parties or therapists or anything like that. Your parents understood quite quickly and everything is good. So congratulations, OP, on the upcoming engagement. I hope everything works out for you guys. Take care and thank you for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.